Hi everyone, this is Tammy, owner of Worthy, Worth It, and Priceless, and today's podcast is titled, Don't Go Back to What's Familiar. I love R&B music like to death, and one of my favorite producers is Brian Michael Cox. And aside from being a producer and everything else, he also DJs. So on certain nights, starting at it can go from 1:30 to whenever, he does this set called Love Zone on Instagram. And during that time is basically all R&B music. And if you know R&B music, you know that R&B music is basically about love and everything else. So during those times, when he's in the love zone or whatever, and you'll see the comments, what happens is everybody gets in their feelings, which R&B music does do, And so a lot of times when people are getting their feelings, what happens? They say, hey, I'm going to message my ex. It's like a running joke within the comments. And what usually happens is someone says, they'll make a hashtag said, don't text your ex. Even Brian sometimes have gotten on the mic and said, don't text your ex. Stuff like that. And what it reminds me of is what we do in life a lot of times. If things don't go our way, or we may not be able to see our way, what we do is try to go back to what's familiar. A lot of times what is familiar is stuff that we've asked God to get rid of, whether it be a habit, an ex, or a job or anything. And my encouragement for you today is don't go back to what's familiar. I know that, especially going through everything that we've went through, especially this year, you want to go back to, a lot of times people say, I'm going back to 2007 or 2019 or whatever. And just basically because they can't deal with 2020 or whatever. But what I wanted to give you encouragement in is to stay the course. You don't really grow in what's familiar. What's familiar may be something that you're used to, but you don't grow in that territory. Why? Because it starts to become a routine. What God is trying to do is grow you through this process. I know a lot of people have grown through the quarantine. I know I have. There's things that I learned more about myself and things like that. And I would have never gotten to that point had I not gone through terrible times or bad times, or even just times I just didn't know which way was up. But once you go through or go back to what's familiar, you just basically live in a routine, and that's not what God created you for. Not for you to live mundane, keep doing the same thing over and over. It is time for us to grow and get to be who God has created us to be, and just have faith and just to keep going. You won't get there, once again, by going to what's familiar. Because a lot of times, like I said, those are things that we've asked God to get rid of. Why go back to what you've asked God to get rid of? It's time for us to grow, become the people that God has created us to be. You got this. It's not the end for you. It's not over for you. But you have to keep going. You stepped out on faith. Believe it. I know that you can't see where you're going. You don't know what's about to happen. None of us do. We're all in the same boat. But just know that if you just keep going, you'll reach the destination that God has planned for you. So don't give up. Don't text your ex. And just keep going. Everything will work out for you. So until next time, just know that you are worthy, worth it, and priceless. And God has a calling on your life, and it's not the end for you. Until next time, bye.